Welcome to today's video. Did you know that Josephine Baker hid her bisexual relationships for decades? Or that Langston Hughes subtly expressed love through poetry? These legendary figures fought for equality, yet behind the spotlight, they had to live in secrecy. Today we'll uncover Black icons who loved in silence but still changed history forever. Have you heard these stories before? Let's dive in now. Lil Nas X, the trailblazer who shattered every barrier. Lil Nas X wasn't just another viral sensation. He was a game changer. Born in 1999, he skyrocketed to global fame with his record-breaking hit Old Town Road, blending country and hip-hop in a way no artist had done before. What started as a TikTok trend quickly became one of the longest-running #1 song in Billboard history. But while the world was fixated on his unexpected success, Lil Nas X had something even bigger in store. Did anyone see his next move coming? In 2019, at the peak of his fame, Lil Nas X made a bold decision. He publicly came out as gay. In an industry like hip-hop, often criticized for its hypermasculinity and homophobia, his announcement was groundbreaking. Many artists before him had either stayed silent or faced immense backlash for their sexuality, but Lil Nas X refused to hide. His openness sent shockwaves through the music world, forcing a long-overdue conversation about LGBTQ+ representation in hip-hop. Was this a turning point for the genre, or just an exception to the rule? The reactions to his coming out were mixed. While many fans and fellow artists praised his courage, others weren't so welcoming. He faced criticism, homophobic remarks, and even industry pushback. But instead of retreating, Lil Nas X doubled down. He used his music and performances to challenge stereotypes, unapologetically embracing his identity in songs like Montero, Call Me By Your Name, and Industry Baby. He proved that an artist could be openly queer, defy industry norms, and still dominate the charts. But should an artist have to fight this hard just to be themselves? Beyond his music, Lil Nas X became a cultural icon, turning controversy into conversation. His fearless visuals, satirical humor, and ability to control his narrative made him more than just a musician. He became a symbol of change. Whether it was dancing with the devil in Montero or reclaiming hypermasculine spaces in Industry Baby, he consistently pushed boundaries and made people question societal norms. But did his fearless approach help advance LGBTQ+ acceptance, or did it make him an even bigger target for criticism? Despite the challenges, Lil Nas X continues to thrive, proving that authenticity and success are not mutually exclusive. He's not just making music, he's reshaping the industry. In a world where artists are often pressured to conform, he stands as proof that staying true to oneself can be revolutionary. So, looking ahead, do you think Lil Nas X's impact will pave the way for more LGBTQ+ representation in hip-hop, or will the industry remain resistant to change? Janelle Monáe, a trailblazer for self-expression and breaking boundaries. Janelle Monáe is more than just a singer or actress. She's a symbol of creativity, courage, and unapologetic self-expression. Born in 1985, she quickly carved out her own space in the music industry with her unique blend of R&B, funk, and soul paired with striking artistic visuals. Beyond music, she's made a name for herself in film with powerful and deeply layered roles. But what truly sets her apart isn't just her talent, it's her fearless defiance of traditional norms. Has her distinctiveness cemented her as a modern-day legend? In 2018, at the height of her career, Janelle Monáe publicly came out as pansexual, affirming her identity within the LGBTQ+ community. In an industry where personal image can dictate an artist's success, speaking openly about sexuality remains a bold move. But Monáe didn't just embrace her identity, she made it a core part of her artistry. For her, music isn't just about entertainment, it's a tool for activism, a platform for freedom and equality. But was the world truly ready to accept an artist who refuses to fit into conventional molds? Unlike many mainstream artists, Monet uses her influence to amplify powerful messages. Albums like Dirty Computer aren't just collections of songs. They're artistic statements tackling social issues like race, gender, and human rights. She fearlessly incorporates these themes into her music and visuals, turning each track and video into a declaration of self-liberation. But do messages like these truly shift societal perspectives? Or are there still too many barriers to overcome? Beyond music, Janelle Monáe has made an impact in Hollywood with roles in films like Hidden Figures and Moonlight, both of which shed light on marginalized communities. She doesn't just act, she chooses roles that carry deep meaning, reflecting her commitment to diversity and justice. Her career isn't just a story of artistic success. It's a testament to breaking barriers and inspiring future generations. But has her success helped Hollywood become more inclusive, or do artists like her still face significant resistance? Janelle Monáe once said, "I want people to know that being true to yourself is the most beautiful thing." And she has lived by that philosophy in every song, every role, and every step she's taken. In a world that still struggles with bias and conformity, she stands as proof that artists can be both authentic and successful without compromise. Do you think Janelle Monáe's bravery and artistry will pave the way for more diverse voices in entertainment? Or is society still a long way from fully embracing individuality? Langston Hughes, the hidden poet of Harlem and his unspoken truths. Born in 1902, Langston Hughes was a defining voice of the Harlem Renaissance, shaping African-American literature and culture through his poetry, essays, and plays. His words captured the struggles and dreams of Black Americans, resonating deeply with those who sought equality and representation. Despite the widespread recognition of his literary genius, Hughes remained an intensely private man, carefully constructing his public persona while keeping certain aspects of his life concealed. His poetry spoke volumes about racial identity, social justice, and the American dream. But what about his personal story? Was his silence a conscious act of self-preservation, or did it reflect something deeper about the times he lived in? Throughout his career, Hughes infused his writing with themes of love, longing, and resilience, often using coded language that left room for interpretation. Many scholars and readers have speculated about his sexuality, pointing to subtle references in his poetry that suggest same-sex desire. Works like Let America Be, America Again, and Cafe, 3 a.m., contain undertones of hidden love and societal constraints, leading many to believe that Hughes was a closeted gay man, navigating an era that was hostile to LGBTQ+ identities. His decision never to marry and his close relationships with other literary figures only added to the mystery surrounding his personal life. Should we view Hughes's discretion as a necessity of survival, or did he intentionally leave his truth open to interpretation? Despite his private nature, Hughes's impact on literature and social movements was undeniable. His poetry gave voice to the struggles of working-class African Americans and highlighted the hypocrisy of a nation that claimed to uphold freedom while oppressing its own people. His words were revolutionary, yet his personal identity remained elusive. Did he intentionally craft his poetry in a way that could be interpreted by different audiences, ensuring that his message would endure regardless of societal norms? Or was he simply reflecting the complexities of his own experience, using literature as a means of navigating an unspoken reality? In 2002, Hughes was posthumously honored on the National LGBTQ Wall of Honor, a recognition that cemented his contributions not only to literature but also to queer history. While there is no definitive proof of his sexuality, his inclusion on this list acknowledges the significant role he played in broadening perspectives on identity and self-expression. His legacy continues to inspire writers, activists, and scholars who find meaning in his words and the silences between them. Should we celebrate Hughes primarily for his literary achievements, or does his possible LGBTQ+ identity add a new dimension to our understanding of his work? Today, Langston Hughes's poetry remains as relevant as ever, reminding us of the power of words in shaping history and challenging societal norms. Whether he was a hidden figure within the LGBTQ+ community or simply a man who valued his privacy, his influence cannot be denied. His work continues to spark conversation and inspire new generations of poets and thinkers. As we reflect on his legacy, one question remains: how much of an artist's personal life should matter when interpreting their work? And does knowing more about Hughes's identity change the way we view his poetry? Bessie Smith, the Empress of the Blues, and her tumultuous life, born in 1894. Bessie Smith was more than just a singer. She was a symbol of the blues, possessing a voice that was both powerful and deeply emotional. Raised in poverty in Chattanooga, Tennessee, she faced hardship from an early age. Yet those struggles shaped her raw, commanding vocal style, making her one of the best-selling artists of the 1920s. Her deeply expressive performances brought blues to new heights, captivating audiences across the country. But was success enough to shield her from the harsh realities of discrimination and societal judgment? Bessie wasn't just known for her talent. She was fearless in expressing her identity. Open about her relationships with both men and women, she defied the rigid social norms of her time. While society wasn't ready to accept such openness, she never shied away from being herself. In an industry dominated by men, she held her ground, taking control of her career and personal life with confidence. But did her boldness come at a cost? Beyond societal pressures, Bessie had to fight to maintain her place in the music world. When the Great Depression hit, the recording industry crumbled, and the popularity of blues began to fade. Yet she continued to tour, bringing her soul-stirring music to audiences everywhere. Even when she was no longer at the top of the charts, she refused to give up on her passion. Was it this unwavering determination that solidified her status as a legend? Tragedy struck in 1937, when Bessie was involved in a devastating car accident in Mississippi. Rumors swirled that she was denied treatment at a whites-only hospital, but the truth remains unclear. What is certain is that her death left an irreplaceable void in the blues world. Shockingly, it wasn't until 1987, 50 years after her passing, that she was finally inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame. This raises an important question. Why does society so often wait until after an artist's death to fully appreciate their genius? Though she is long gone, Bessie Smith's music continues to resonate. Songs like Downhearted Blues and Nobody Knows You, When You're Down and Out, still evoke deep emotions, telling stories of pain, resilience, and pride. Her legacy isn't just about music. It's about the fight for self-expression, freedom, and perseverance. Do you think Bessie Smith received the recognition she deserved in her lifetime? Or was the world too slow to honor a true icon? Luther Vandross, the R&B legend, who kept his private life a mystery. Luther Vandross wasn't just a singer, he was a voice that defined generations. Born in 1951, he became one of the most celebrated R&B artists of all time, delivering timeless ballads like Dance with My Father and Here and Now. His smooth, heartfelt vocals and soul-stirring lyrics resonated deeply with audiences, making him a dominant force in the music industry for decades. But despite his immense success, Vandross remained an enigma when it came to his personal life. Could this mystery have added to his enduring appeal? Throughout his career, Vandross maintained a polished and professional image, carefully separating his public persona from his private world. While rumors about his sexuality swirled, he never confirmed nor denied them. In an industry where image and perception could make or break a career, he likely feared that being open about his personal life would overshadow his artistry. Was his silence a personal choice, or was he a victim of an industry that wasn't ready for change? Even as fans and industry insiders speculated about his private life, Vandross remained focused on his music. His songs captured themes of love, longing, and devotion, making listeners feel every note as if it were written just for them. His ability to convey deep emotion through music made him a beloved figure. Yet many still wonder, was he ever able to express his true self outside of his lyrics? In 2024, nearly 2 decades after his passing, the documentary Luther, Never Too Much shed new light on his life and legacy. The film explored not just his extraordinary musical journey, but also the personal struggles he faced behind closed doors. It sparked renewed discussions about his influence on R&B and the sacrifices he made for his career. Does knowing more about an artist's private life change the way we appreciate their music, or should their art speak for itself? Despite his guarded personal life, Luther Vandross left behind a musical legacy that continues to touch millions. His voice remains unmistakable, his lyrics timeless, and his influence undeniable. He proved that true artistry isn't just about fame, it's about connection. Do you think Luther Vandross would have been just Bayard Rustin, the great architect behind the civil rights movement? Bayard Rustin, 1912-1987, was a steadfast social activist who laid the foundation for the American civil rights movement in the mid-20th century. He was the mastermind behind the success of the 1963 March on Washington, an event that witnessed Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic "I Have a Dream" speech. Though not a public figure in the spotlight, Rustin was the strategist, organizer, and community builder who helped turn the dream of a more just America into a reality. Despite his monumental contributions, Bayard Rustin's life was far from easy due to the prejudices of his era. As an openly gay man in a conservative society, he faced severe threats and harsh discrimination. These challenges not only damaged his personal reputation, but also jeopardized the very movement he had dedicated his life to building. Rustin chose to sacrifice personal glory and worked quietly behind the scenes to bring about pivotal changes in the fight for social justice. Rustin's advocacy extended beyond racial equality. He championed women's voting rights, labor rights, and the anti-nuclear movement. His philosophy of nonviolence was heavily influenced by Mahatma Gandhi, and he inspired many other activists with these principles. Rustin firmly believed that all people, regardless of race or sexual orientation, deserved to live in peace and freedom. Recognition for Rustin's work only came posthumously. In 2013, President Barack Obama posthumously awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest honor an American civilian can receive. This award was a well-deserved tribute to a man who spent his life in the background, dedicating himself to the ideals of social equality. Rustin's legacy endures not just in the history of American civil rights, but as a continuing source of inspiration for anyone fighting for a fairer world. What are your thoughts on the sacrifices made by those who work quietly for justice, like Bayard Rustin? Do you believe they deserve as much recognition as those in the spotlight, or should their contributions be measured solely by the movement's overall success? Share your thoughts. James Baldwin, the revolutionary writer who challenged society. Born in 1924 in the vibrant neighborhood of Harlem, New York, James Baldwin grew up witnessing the deep contradictions of America, a land of both opportunity and oppression. From a young age, he became acutely aware of the harsh realities of racial discrimination. Instead of protesting in the streets or entering politics, Baldwin chose literature as his weapon. His words didn't just expose injustice, they raised uncomfortable questions about identity, power, and morality in American society. As a black man and a gay man in a time of extreme prejudice, Baldwin faced discrimination on multiple fronts. While he never publicly declared his sexuality, his works spoke volumes. His novel, Giovanni's Room, boldly explored the inner struggles of a man grappling with his same-sex desires, a radical topic in the 1950s. At a time when mainstream literature barely acknowledged homosexuality, Baldwin fearlessly wrote about it, turning literature into a space where he could express what society refused to accept. Baldwin's revolutionary mindset extended far beyond sexuality. He was also one of the most powerful voices in the fight against racial injustice. In The Fire Next Time, he warned that America was heading toward racial conflict if it didn't address its systemic inequalities. But rather than preaching hatred, Baldwin called for understanding and reconciliation. He refused to accept blind extremism, yet he also rejected passive compromise. His work challenged both white liberals and black activists to rethink their approach to racial justice. Despite the societal resistance he faced, Baldwin never stopped writing, never stopped questioning, and never stopped pushing boundaries. He moved to France in search of creative freedom. Yet his heart and his words remained deeply connected to America. He stood alongside civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, engaging in debates and contributing his perspective to the movement for equality. When Baldwin passed away in 1987, his legacy didn't fade. It only grew stronger. His words continue to inspire new generations, resonating just as powerfully today as they did decades ago. Through his fearless storytelling, he not only paved the way for discussions about race and sexuality, but also proved that literature can be a force for revolutionary change. Ma Rainey, the mother of the blues, who defied every norm. Born in 1886, Ma Rainey was more than just a pioneering blues artist. She was a fearless woman who lived life on her own terms. With her deep, soulful voice, bold stage presence, and emotionally charged lyrics, she left an indelible mark on American music. Over a century after she first took the stage, Ma Rainey is still remembered as a symbol of strength and authenticity. But did society truly appreciate her contributions at the time? Or did it take decades for her legacy to be fully recognized? Unlike many artists of her era, Ma Rainey made no effort to hide who she was. She openly identified as a lesbian within her community, an incredibly daring act in the early 20th century. While most people in the entertainment industry felt pressured to conform to societal expectations, she stood proudly in her truth. Rather than letting the world define her, she used her music to express her identity. Did her fearless approach hinder her career, or did it help cement her status as a legend? One of her most famous songs, Prove It On Me Blues, openly referenced same-sex relationships, an almost unthinkable topic in the 1920s. Through her lyrics, she challenged traditional norms and celebrated personal freedom, particularly for women in a male-dominated world. Her music wasn't just entertainment. It was a declaration of independence. But was the audience of her time truly ready to embrace the revolutionary message behind her words? Despite facing societal prejudice, Ma Rainey never stopped performing or breaking barriers. She was one of the first artists to bring blues to the professional stage, helping transform it from an underground art form into a genre that would later influence jazz, rock, and R&B. The foundations she laid paved the way for countless musicians who came after her. Yet, why did it take nearly a century for the world to fully acknowledge her groundbreaking contributions? It wasn't until 2023 that Ma Rainey was honored with a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, cementing her influence on music history. Though she passed away long ago, her voice and her spirit continue to echo in the heart of blues. She wasn't just a singer. She was a revolutionary figure in both music and culture. If Ma Rainey were alive today, do you think she would have received even greater recognition, or was it her defiance of societal norms in her own time that truly made her legendary? Josephine Baker, a legendary performer and tireless civil rights activist. Josephine Baker, born on June 3, 1906, in St. Louis, Missouri, rose from poverty to become one of the most iconic cultural figures of the 20th century. Born into a life of hardship and racial discrimination, she found her breakthrough in Paris. When she took the stage in the 1920s, Baker quickly became the brightest star with her electrifying dance performances, captivating European audiences and earning widespread acclaim. However, Baker's contributions extended far beyond the stage. In the 1940s, she became actively involved in the fight against fascism and supported the Allied forces during World War II. Fearless and determined, she used her celebrity status to gather intelligence and aid those facing oppression. After the war, Baker returned to the United States with a mission to fight for racial equality. In 1963, she stood alongside Martin Luther King Jr. at the March on Washington, delivering a powerful speech for justice and civil rights. Although Baker married twice, her personal life remained private and complex. She was openly bisexual, though she never publicly disclosed her relationships in an era marked by deep societal prejudice. Her love and dedication to her family were undeniable. Baker adopted 12 children from different countries, creating what she called her rainbow tribe, to demonstrate that love transcends racial and national boundaries. Josephine Baker's life was a testament to resilience and transformation. She was not only an entertainment powerhouse, but also a visionary civil rights advocate. Her contributions to both the arts and social justice built a legacy that continues to inspire future generations. In recognition of her immense contributions, Baker became the first Black woman to be honored at the Pantheon in France in 2021, a national mausoleum reserved for heroes of the nation. Today, her image stands as a symbol of justice and global unity, ensuring that the spirit of Josephine Baker will forever endure. Gladys Bentley, the blues legend who defied social norms. Born in 1907 in Philadelphia, Gladys Bentley realized early on that she was different in a society bound by rigid expectations. As the eldest in a large family, she not only stood out in personality, but also in the way she expressed herself. Moving to Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance, Bentley quickly gained attention for her extraordinary musical talent and bold stage presence. Dressed in tailored men's suits and a top hat, she mesmerized audiences with her deep, powerful blues voice. Her provocative, fearless performances and open affection for women on stage made her an unmistakable icon within the LGBTQ+ community of her time. At the height of her career, Bentley was one of Harlem's most celebrated blues performers. She was a staple at renowned nightclubs like Clam House, where she captivated crowds, including elite social figures and influential personalities. With masterful piano skills and a commanding vocal presence, she became a sensation in the blues scene. Her songs were not just about heartbreak and passion. They carried an underlying message of defiance against gender norms and societal constraints. Bentley embodied the spirit of Harlem, a place bursting with creativity, rebellion, and unapologetic self-expression. However, success didn't equate to acceptance. By the 1950s, the free-spirited atmosphere of Harlem had given way to a more conservative American society, with increasing governmental crackdowns on LGBTQ+ individuals. Facing immense social pressure, Bentley was forced to conform to survive. She abandoned her signature suits, married a man, and publicly claimed that hormone therapy had cured her homosexuality. This drastic shift wasn't just a change in appearance, it was a painful erasure of her true self. A woman who once fearlessly challenged norms was now forced to hide behind a fabricated identity, a heartbreaking consequence of the era's intolerance. Despite the hardships, Bentley's legacy remained unshaken. She was a trailblazer who shattered boundaries between gender and artistic expression, paving the way for future LGBTQ+ artists. The few recordings of her music that still exist serve as a testament to her immense talent, resilience, and bold personality. Harlem may have... These individuals didn't just make history, they dared to live their truth, breaking barriers in art, music, and culture, while inspiring generations to come. They proved that authenticity and courage can change the world. Thank you for watching today's video. Did these stories make you think? Were you surprised by their journeys and how they overcame obstacles to embrace their true selves? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next videos. See you next time.